Okay guys, today we're gonna go over the last brother of the normal series and Escapade Hour trilogy. This show is called The Incredible Globe of Cough Drop, and it stars a blue cat named Cough Drop. His brother's a fish named Dickens, and he has a cat mother and a rabbit father. Then his sister's a rabbit too. Like, the gene pool in this show makes no sense. Anyway, the reason I didn't go over this show like last year was because I didn't really watch it all that much. I mean, don't get me wrong, whenever it showed up, I thought it was a classic, and I didn't really have anything against it, but for some reason, it never really spoke out to me, so I didn't bother actually watching that many episodes. Seeing as now the creator has left the show, and this season might be the last one, we'll be going over some episodes of the show, so sit back and watch as I tell the plot of Cough Drop and his associates on the blog. So the first episode starts with Cough Drop's mom getting on his ass over returning a Blu-ray disc. So then Cough Drop tells her that he's not trying to do all that, so she threatens to beat the brakes out of him, and instantly he folds. Then he tries to recruit his brother for the mission, but his dumbass is using the Blu-ray as a pizza cutter, so the main character has to put him in his place. Then of course the Blu-ray gets broken, so it's looking bad out there for the guys. So then Cough Drop tries to scheme the shop by turning in cardboard, so they got on his ass with letters telling him to pay a fine. So then they try bumming around on the streets to collect the funds, but some other guy finesses them. Then they try modeling, and that's an L too. So their mother starts interrogating them, and they gotta play it cool, cause they don't need the extra attention. But the mom knows they're bugging, so she tries to pull up on them, and they instantly do the dash. Then she's on their ass until they manage to get her out the way and return a bootleg DVD that doesn't impress anyone. So they eventually start telling on themselves, but then the mom also hears and agrees to pay the fine. But then the clerk starts tweaking and asks for almost a band, so they all ran off on him. A pretty good start to any series. Then in another episode, the whole family is sitting down, reminiscing on their old misadventures, when some woman hands their dad a bill, cause Cough Drop made her monstrous son destroy the town. Then the principal pulls up to tell them they have to repeat their entire school cycle, so they both start bugging. Then the family learns they have to make up for the nonsense they did in the past, and the dad GTAs some bus while the mom tries a debt forgiveness program. Since the dad is a dumbass, he manages to crash the bus through a house in some op's lawn. After that jihad, the guys steal some other nigga's identity to finesse money from their parents. That only gets 12 in their ass, and eventually the whole family ends up in jail. While they're there, the niggas are still waiting for a bailout, but it doesn't come, so it looks like all is lost. But then Cough Drop decides enough is enough and instigates some guy to break them out. Then his sister tells the rest of the family to cause more pain and suffering across the town because it'll work itself out, I guess. So Cough Drop and Dickens start bullying people in school, while the others unleash monsters that eventually throw hands with each other. Then the family all retreat to the crib, but all the niggas in the town are still on their ass for the stunts they pulled, and the episode ends with them all about to be put on a shirt. A perfect end. And the next episode, Cough Drop and Dickens start dissing their parents for being fossils. Then all of a sudden, their voices start messing up, cause I guess their balls are dropping or something. Then they try to go on the bus, but some Viking driver gets in their way, cause he thinks they're one of him, and just trying to finesse the kid pass. So they go to the mall, the employee gets in his feelings and calls a security guard on them, but he just pump fakes and tells them to leave. So they get in their feelings, and then the host dad pulls up and tries to start more problems with them. Eventually they go to the doctor, and he tells them that their balls are dropping, cause it turns out that time is actually a thing, and then they become ear rapists and rap about being kids or something, but it doesn't matter, cause their voices caught up with them in the end. Then they start singing about their L, but then they hit a high note, so it turns out they'll never age, so well. Another episode starts out with Cough Drop creating an invention to get rid of his boredom, but then his parents and sister run up on them, cause they think he and Dickens finessed their stuff, so they trap them in the room. Then they find out that it's some rando that's been taking their stuff, cause their own device is missing. So they try to call 12, but the thief nigga cut their phone line. Then they start looking for him and find his hideouts in the basement. Eventually he shows his face, and the niggas drive him out, but they also get on his ass, cause they're trying to figure out why he's being a parasite. Eventually, they get him to chill, and it turns out he doesn't remember who he is, and they tell him that he can be their op, and then he remembers that in some other episode, they did him dirty and left him behind, which is why he's so glitched out now. So yeah, he agrees to make it difficult for them to move around. In another episode, Cough Drop starts disrespecting the glitch because he said he was gonna be an outstanding op, but he hasn't seen him in traffic yet. But this is because all of the glitch's plans fall through, so they don't even notice when it's happening. Then he tells them he's a failing loser, so they stalk him on the bus, but he's not having it. Also a bunch of randos get into conversation, so he bounces. Then in the market, they try to give him a better name than his current lame one, but he starts walling out and destroying things that he bought himself. So they give him a new name, voice, and costume. And when they try to celebrate and ride his dick, his ungrateful ass just tells them they're still ops. Like, what the hell? He's a weirdo. So then that night he pulls up to their crib and tells them that he plans to destroy the dam and drown everyone, but his dumbass can't escape because the bus stopped early, so now he needs their help to fix what he started. But then they're too late, but it still doesn't matter because there was no dam. He just tries to bomb a car repair center. Then the glitch is in his feelings because, as established earlier, he's a lame. So Cough Drop and Dickens purposely fall into a trap to make him feel better, and it works, but he's a dick, so he doesn't even free them. Then there's an episode that explains how Cough Drop and Dickens came to be. You see, a minute ago, Cough Drop was a fetus that was always acting up and terrorizing the house, so his parents had enough of it. While his dad had the right idea to go back and prevent his birth, his mom decided to get him a pet, and the dad went along because he didn't want to look like a weirdo. So they got him a fish that he names Dickens, but then it gets put in the dirt and they buy him a new one, and the cycle continues because he keeps putting them in his blunts. But eventually, the store runs out of fishes, so the dad goes into some off-brand tent and gets a fish that's more aware of its surroundings. So when Cough Drop is talking to the fish, he realizes that it can actually understand what he's saying, so he tells the fish to look like a pack so he can flex on his parents and prove he's alive. But then the dad thinks the fish really has become a pack, so he almost flushes it down, but Cough Drop manages to save him at the last second. Then the parents find out the fish really does matter, so they all try to take a picture, but the fish does the most and starts actually talking, which causes the rest to lose control and drop him in the toilet, where he gets flushed. So after that, Dickens is in the sewers with a bunch of other fish, and they get him to the shore, so he decides to jump onto land. Since he's a fish, he just ends up on a shirt, but then Cough Drop's heart or something gives him a lung, and he uses them to crawl across damn near the entire world. But right when he's about to be put on the papers a second time, Cough Drop's heart gives him legs so he can move better. When he finally gets to town, he starts wrecking it up, because niggas are scared of what isn't familiar to them. Then he gets put in the trunk with all the other strays, while Cough Drop gives up on him, but he managed to get the keys and free himself, along with the rest of the niggas. So he tries to tailgate Cough Drop's family, but it's too late, and they already bought a new fish. Right before they can make the purchase, Cough Drop runs out and looks for Dickens, because he knows he's there, and they finally reunite, and now the fish is part of the family, so that's cool. In another episode, the Glitch Drop is back to cause more problems. So it starts out with the family in the whip on their way to the store. Meanwhile, the Glitch gets a remote that can control reality from the same off-brand tent that Dickens came from. So the Glitch goes back in time to when his life was ruined, and decides to use his powers to make Cough Drop want to jump. He starts by making other cars run into Cough Drop's family's car after Cough Drop was playing with the window, so he loses his allowance or something. Now he and Dickens have to choose between rip-off, worthless games, so the Glitch instigates them and makes the fish run away. Then when Cough Drop meets up with the families, the Glitch makes his parents divorce. Then he makes him fight with his hoe and almost puts her in the dirt, so the Glitch shows himself and tells Cough Drop that he plans to get him out of the way so he can be whatever he wants to be. So they catch a fade over the remote until eventually the Glitch goes into some other dimension so that Cough Drop has to chase after it. So Cough Drop almost becomes a memory, but he managed to rewind time, so he ends up back to when his family was all in the car, but this time he knows what's gonna happen. When he and Dickens are picking through useless games, he managed to let them know that the Glitch is scheming them. So then they try to stop him, but he ends up turning his parents into babies, which in turn gets his sister and Dickens out of the way. Once again, his hoe is almost murked, so he throws hands with the Glitch and sends him to the Shadow Realm, but he feels bad about it for some reason and decides to save him. He doesn't succeed, because he almost becomes a ghost, but the Glitch changes his mind and goes back in time, so now they're allies. But he has to go back further and fix everything, so it turns out he'll still be an op after all. So in the final episode of the latest season, the principal is going through his emotions because the school is trash and it's about to be inspected. So the superintendent shows up and tells the whole school that he's gonna be running it personally, and he's gonna make it difficult for them to move around. And the superintendent is like a real life nigga too, so he sticks out. So the superintendent basically ruins everyone's lives and eventually starts turning them into humans as part of a bigger plan to turn them into real life niggas like him. So Cough Drop and Dickens manage to escape, but they go back and bring their niggas back to normal. Then they meet up with the superintendent and prepare to throw hands, but he just fucks off, and then they confront him, and it turns out he's the Glitch. He tries to explain why he was bugging, but the dinosaur beats him into submission, and they just leave him to rot. Then at the end, I guess it's being hinted that their world is being destroyed or something, but whatever. The creator has left the show, so there's no reason to continue it. Overall, this show is one of the top tier ones on the Discovery Channel. Like, it was actually funny and imaginative, and does a good job of blending 2D characters with 3D backgrounds. And I know this video took a minute to come out, but listen, you know why. I just hope more shows like this can be made, and niggas stop giving old stuff meaningless continuation and reboot. Okay guys, make sure that when you subscribe you hit the notification button, because that lets you know whenever I make a new video. And as always, thanks for watching.